Bonjour, Elon.
Lord Bogdanov. What can I do for you?
CME Bitcoin is going up again.
Yes, sir, it is.
May I ask you, why?
It looks like people have more faith in Bitcoin than we expected so long.
Il va intéressant plus passe. Do not stop putting up Bitcoin.
I apologize, my master.
If people actually get fat in Bitcoin, we will end face COVID-19 and job lower payments. Do not let us go to the next phase.
I understand, Lord Bogdanov.
Very good. You know exactly what to do. Do not disappoint me, Mr. News. Or we might need to pousser des plans. Starlink.
Welcome Bitcoin friends, it's Bitcoin Mamo. Today we're going to look at the Bitcoin chart and do some TA. We'll look at various time frames. We'll also have a look at market cipher. So just want to start here on the weekly chart, and we did open a new weekly candle here, and we can see this weekly EMA ribbon starting to tick up now, and currently the top of the ribbon is at 42,260. And if we were to have a bigger pullback, I would expect the top of this ribbon to be a bounce point. We're also getting close to this golden pocket area here, the 618 fib and the 65 fib, and that's on the overall retracement from 65 to 29k, and this level is approximately between 51 and 52,000. We can see on the VPVR here, amount of volume traded at certain price levels. You can see we've entered this area where there was a lot of volume traded compared to the areas around it. So we could possibly stay in this range for a little bit if we do get a rejection from this golden pocket area. But we can see once we do get above the 51.3 area, the VPVR does drop off here, and the resistance would start kicking in around 53.5, with the most amount of volume traded around that 56,000 area. And looking at the stochastic RSI down here, we did get another uptick, so everything still looks bullish here. We can see we can spend quite a long time here at this top range. The RSI is at around a 60 level, and I do just have this trend line drawn here connecting the tops, and currently we are just above that trend line. But the week has just opened, so plenty of time to go to see how this week plays out. And the 2-week chart here gives us a bit of clarity. We can see we had these order blocks here, a supply and demand zone in an uptrend. When we get a red candle, this is known as an order block. And we can see we had this order block up here drawn, and currently we are above that order block. The top of this order block is at 48.6, but we do have another week before this candle closes. So I would like to see Bitcoin close above this area at this 48.6 level, and that would give me confidence on this 2-week chart that perhaps we'll make a run to this next order block at 55.8. which is also around that area where we had that VPVR spike. If we were to close inside this order block, perhaps we might come down to test the bottom for support here, and that would be around 45.3. But we'll have to wait to see how this week plays out. This one would be one to watch before we open the next 2-week candle in a week's time. So on the daily time frame here, you can see we have these trend lines drawn, and we are in this channel that I've spoken about. We can see we've had several touches here on the bottom, several touches on the top, and we did wick down on that previous pullback. And this is that 2-week order block here, so we can see we are above it. We're currently using it as support, and just pulling up the volume here, we can see we are getting decreasing volume here as we are traveling up in this channel. And we can draw this trend line here to show that decreasing volume. And I would be looking for a break of this trend line on the volume, and possibly a break of this channel. If we were to break below this bottom line and do it with volume above this trend line, then I think we might have a bigger pullback. And the same if we were to break to the upside, I think that would initiate a quicker move to the upside on breaking this trend line. So where could we come down to if we were to have a drop? There we can pull up the EMA ribbon on the daily, And I do think this daily EMA ribbon will hold. Currently the top of the ribbon's at 45.6 and the bottom of the ribbon is at 41.7. And I do also think this trend line is important here that connects these two tops and also this third top and also this bounce here on this pullback with this wick. So I do think we won't have a big drop if we were to break the bottom of this trend line. I think the buyers would step in quite quickly and this EMA ribbon would hold. And pulling up the daily order blocks here, we can see this red candle here in the uptrend. We'd have this order block acted as support on these pullbacks. And we do possibly have one here forming with this red candle here. But unless this uptrend continues here, I probably wouldn't class this as one. We also have these other three order blocks higher up, one that we're currently in, and just to show you where I got those from, we can see here in this downtrend we had this green candle, so we have that order block. We also have this one on this red candle and also one higher up with that green candle here. So I've just taken off that 2-week order block to make it a bit clearer. You can see this order block currently is holding. And if we were to get above this order block, with the top of it being around 49.7 and close the day above there, then I would expect us to test this higher up order block, which is between 51.6 and 52.2. And that would also be the top of this trend line here in blue. And as we said with that fib retracement here, we have the golden pocket here from the overall retracement, and we can see that order block lies in between the golden pocket here. And this is quite often a turnaround point in a market, so we'll have to see how Bitcoin responds to that golden pocket area if it gets up there. And if we were to look at the fib retracement from this high here after this bounce, we can see that we are above the golden pocket using this as the high. So that is a good sign that we got above this golden pocket area first. We can also see that golden cross is getting closer here. We have the 50 daily moving average in yellow, the 200-day moving average in red. We can see the 50 days starting to tick up quite quickly here. And again, trying to project the day that we'll see that golden cross. If we were to stay at around 48,000 here, we can see we can get that golden cross around September 15th, which is just around this area here. So still a few weeks away, but if we were obviously to go a lot higher, this will happen sooner. And looking at the daily stochastic RSI, we are around a 60 level, does have room to go higher. And the RSI is still looking to try to make a higher high here. So we are getting these divergences here on the daily RSI. And as I mentioned in the previous video, they're not massive divergences here. Normally we'd see something like this where we have these big drop downs and come back up and look for divergence between 2 points like that to be more valid. But interesting to note when looking at the Bitcoin Futures chart here on the daily, the RSI is slightly different. We did make higher highs here, and currently we are still trending up. I place a little bit less significance on those divergences on the spot chart because they're not also present on the Bitcoin Futures chart. The 12-hour stochastic RSI is quite high here. Looks like it's starting to tick down. And the RSI is also making lower highs here relative to the previous highs. And back onto the Bitcoin Futures chart on the 12-hour, we do also have the lower highs here. So that divergence is present on both charts. So perhaps we are due for a pullback here, even though we have had this nice run up. We could possibly come up to this trend line and in this golden pocket area first before that pullback, or we could get it from this area. But again, I'll be watching this channel, looking for a daily close below this trend line and with volume. The 6-hour stochastic RSI is starting to come down quite sharply. So we could just be resetting the indicators while we go sideways here before getting a bounce. And just want to look at both possibilities. We can see on the previous occasions here when we started coming down with the stochastic RSI, we did end up just going sideways for a bit here till it did cool off to the lower range. And then we did have another pump to the upside. And the 4-hour stochastic RSI is doing a similar thing, coming down sharply here. and also could just be resetting. And on the 4-hour here, this trend line would be drawn slightly different to the daily, just connecting this low here. We can see we have come down to the 4-hour EMA ribbon, and I did say when things are quite bullish, we do bounce off this 4-hour EMA ribbon. We saw on this pullback, we came to the top of the ribbon and bounced, and we're getting quite close to that ribbon again now. And the top of this ribbon's at 48.9. And this is also the bottom of this daily demand supply box. So we have to see how Bitcoin responds to that. And we do see quite a similar fractal here when we did come down to the bottom of the trend line after going below the 4-hour EMA ribbon like we did over here. And we came back up, went sideways for a bit like we did here, had another pump to the upside, and we went high here also. Then we had a pullback to the top of the EMA ribbon, which we have done here. Another pump to the upside, which we got here. And now we're starting to have another pullback. So on this pullback here, we did bounce off the top of the 4-hour EMA ribbon, went back up to a similar level, and then we came down for a deeper pullback into the ribbon. So I have to watch that, see how that plays out if we do a similar fractal. So it might have sounded a little bit bearish there, but on the longer term time frames, I am very bullish. Looking at market Cipher now, we can see on the 12-hour, we don't have a red dot at the top of this blue wave yet. We do have it on the smaller time frames, on the 4 and the 6-hour. But this green money flow is still good. And the daily is also still coming up here after getting this green dot. And the money flow is just getting higher here. We can see with the green money flow. So the daily is still looking good. There's no red dot present yet. And the weekly blue wave here has crossed the 0 line with that open of the new week. So that's a good sign for the bulls here. We can see last time we crossed this 0 line the following week was around this point. And we talked about that 2-week having the green dot also. So I am very bullish on the higher term time frames. I just think we might get some resistance in that golden pocket area, or at least battle it for a little bit. And one reason to get very bullish here on the rest of this bull run is this is the 3-week chart. And we did just open this new 3-week candle here, the 23rd of August. And currently we do have a green dot. And it will take another 3 weeks to confirm that green dot, which would be 13th of September. But as long as we stay around these price levels at these high 40,000 area, the reason I'm bringing this up is just want to look at this comparison here with 2013, where we had the initial bull run. We had a big mid-cycle pullback here, more than 50%. And we notice the similarities between this pullback and this pullback mid-cycle. And what we can see here is after getting that red dot, the mid-cycle pullback like we've had here with this red dot in the current cycle, when we did get this green dot here, it did initiate the last bit of the bull run, which was quite explosive to the upside. We can see from about $135 to $1,200. So quite a big move there after this green dot. We're looking for a similar thing here. We have got that green dot now. And if it is confirmed, I think September will be very bullish and we'll have that explosive run to the end of the bull run. And we can look for that red dot to know when the bull run is possibly over, and we'll possibly get a similar divergence here with the blue waves. So everything is still looking pretty good here. And again, the main thing I'll be watching is watching this trend line on the volume and just watching this channel. And if we are to break down or break up, and with significant volume on breaking this trend line, it might indicate a bigger pullback rather than a bounce off the trend line. And again, to the downside, I do think this daily ribbon will hold. And we also have that weekly EMA ribbon support. And again, I do think this trend line would be a possible target here, which would be around the 43,000 area. But whether we come up first and test this golden pocket area, if we did break through and go above this blue trend line, and we do have volume here breaking this trend line, I would expect a big move to the upside quite quickly, possibly to around that 56,000 area. So just something to keep an eye on. And I do think any pullbacks here are for buying. good logging opportunities. So I think that's about all for today. I will make another video in a couple of days, and I'll do more of a bigger picture analysis, more long-term analysis, look at the overall bull run and comparing cycles, and also looking at that pi cycle indicator that I modified that's starting to look a little bit more interesting. So thanks for watching. I'm Bitcoin Mamo. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.